So can Trump win? Can he win this nomination? There are two questions on which that answer hinges. The first is Donald Trump has made up his whole campaign by bringing people from outside the system into the system in order to vote. Largely blue-collar, white, older, more men than women, but both genders. People who are not normally participants in the process. When you look at the polling in Iowa, for example, among those who have been to caucuses before, Cruz has a lead. Among those who have never been to caucuses before, Trump has an overwhelming lead. So the question is, how many of these other folks can Trump bring into the caucuses? The reason polls are so widely divergent in the Iowa caucuses is that they don't know how to treat these other voters that might or might not come in to the process. As you know, voting in Iowa is no simple affair. You have to spend all of Monday night, a week from today, at it. You have to drive half an hour, go back half an hour. It could be snowing. It's going to be a very difficult challenge to vote in those caucuses. The caucus meetings themselves take about an hour to 2 hours. How many of the new people will be willing to run that gauntlet? We just don't know. And Trump does not have a very good field organization, hasn't built one. So will the enthusiasm and the hoopla and Sarah Palin be enough to motivate those folks to come out to vote? That's the first question. We'll really know the answer to that on Monday night, a week hence. The second question on which his victory in the later primaries hinge is, can he reach out beyond the current vote share he's getting to pick up second place support from the minor candidates in the field? In a 13 and 14 way race, Trump runs first with 30 or 35 or 27, whatever you want, % of the vote, and the rest is scattered over the more than a dozen other candidates. But this process has to narrow down to a two-way race by March 1st. Not that people will withdraw, but if you go back to my video on Friday, I explained that starting on March 1st, almost all the primaries have a threshold requirement. They say you can win your proportionate share of the delegates, but only if you get a minimum of 20% of the vote. And it's probably going to only be two candidates, Trump and Cruz most likely, who clear the 20% threshold. So all of the voters that would normally tell pollsters that they're for Rubio or Bush or Christie or Paul or Fiorina or any of the other candidates, or Bush, any of those other candidates can't make the 20% threshold. And the question then is, do they vote for Cruz or do they vote for Trump, if those are the final two? Now, until now, Trump has had a big weakness, which is that he gets the votes that he gets, but among people that do not vote for him, relatively few would switch to him in the event of a two-way race, because his views are so iconoclastic and strong, and in effect his charisma works against him. Either you're for him or you're against him, and if you're against him, you could vote for a number of other candidates. But that's now, it's not then, it's not in 5 weeks. So what Trump needs to do in the next 5 weeks is not only solidify his base support, but reach out elsewhere to the process and get some second place support, so that when those candidates don't make the threshold, their votes come to him as opposed to Cruz. I don't know if he can do those two missions, if he can generate a turnout from among the parts of his base that have never voted before, particularly in the Iowa caucuses, and I don't know if he's going to be able to obtain the kind of second place support necessary to win a two-way race. But he well might do both of those. He's surprised everybody so far, and he keeps surprising us. Thanks for watching.